my first question to you would be, what was one of your favorite scientific facts that you found out about Hawaii?
Oh man, there's a lot. What? Okay, it's not a fact; it's a theory.
Mhm.
There has been for a long time, until some of the science community got hijacked, the theory of ETH.
Yeah, right, right.
Right. Okay. So now it's the same idea. It's been transferred to like dark energy, dark matter.
Uh,
But I heard a scientist say that the more they study it, the more that the qualities of this mysterious energy, this mysterious matter, has qualities like water, like it flows and has currents. And
Yeah,
I'm thinking like, oh, so like what ships would make roadways out of and sail on out in outer space or whatever. Like
yeah.
the way this guy was describing it, it wasn't a very big leap until you got to exactly how Oahspe describes um, the the world as it and all the plateaus moving through these different currents, and you're moving through different, you know, and turbulence and different things you encounter.
It's crazy. Keep
Um,
going.
so that was probably the latest thing, but that's
Uh,
not really a fact. The coolest thing that connects like a waspy with everywhere you look,
uh,
and it could be purely physical or electromagnetic or the wind or almost like every aspect of reality is knowing about vortex and energy.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it's everywhere.
yeah.
It's everywhere.
Okay, yeah.
That was
And
crazy to me to have it just described like that, and
yeah.
then to be able to start making connections everywhere. And like that makes so much sense. Everything is in motion, and it's all a
Mhm.
spiral, some form or the other.
Yeah. And one of the things that I found out not too long ago, I don't know if I messaged you it, but literally, like a lot of people don't realize that our galaxy itself, we're connected to a black hole. Uh,
Right, the center of the vortex.
yes. So like I I went deeper into, just trying to figure out. I was just like, okay, if our galaxy has a black hole, how many other galaxies have a black hole? And I went ahead and did my research on that, and scientists were like, literally almost every major galaxy has a black hole at the center of it. And
Yeah.
it's just like, whoa, 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 okay, that kind of changes some things. And
So
then, like,
I have a follow-up question to that.
yeah, yeah,
Everything everything is an example. Like so the smallest things are an example of the large things are example. So and we know that okay, our galaxy has a vortex, our solar system has a vortex, the
right.
moon, the Earth. So what would be the equivalent to the Earth's black hole? Like what would that be?
I've been thinking about that. Like, I've literally
Or
been
the
thinking about
moon?
that. Okay, okay. So it for me, it's kind of like the pressurized core of the Earth. We know it as magma and everything, but we still have to understand that magma is in constant motion.
I don't think
What
we know it's magma. I think that's a theory.
you right, you right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that one because nobody's ever been to the core of the Earth. So how are we gonna know? But it's oh that is a great question because it's something that we just can't prove just yet. But these theories, like the magma theory, or you can call it the electromagnetic field, that is
Okay.
a clear vortex that the Earth has. It we have energy that enters through the top and goes right through the bottom just to circulate and do the same
Hmm.
thing all the way. It's a constant funnel. So it's just like I can't put my finger on what causes the Earth to move from the center going to it's weird, man. Like,
I
that
don't
is a great
understand it.
question.
I don't understand it. I actually got a see if I have it around here. I actually got a book, an electrical engineer wrote a book on it's like a commentary of the cosmogony, and it didn't really explain. I mean, it was mainly just going through the different concepts and trying to elaborate on it, but a lot of that stuff is a mystery. I was talking to you know that guy Saul that I have
Yeah.
on. Okay, we were talking together, and I don't know if he made any progress, but he was going to chat with some people that had the capability, the knowledge, and the equipment to maybe help us out and do a complete rewrite model of the universe, the reality, just only using the descriptions found in Oahspe.
Oh, goodness. And the result of that, if it comes out almost identical to reality right now, whoa, that'll be a major, major discovery. Oh, goodness. And something that just popped in my head as well, just going back to the Earth's vortex. What do you think our vortex is as the body?
Oh, well, I would say the chakras. I mean, you have your your bottom and top chakra, and it's like
Yeah.
going like that. Even our lobes, divided into two parts, and you've got energy. And
Uh-huh.
I know from personal experience, everyone's energy field goes out to a different extent, but generally 4 to 6 feet is how, like, if you're not very skilled, you should be able to feel it. It goes
Yeah.
out further than that, but I mean, obviously, the energy can go through the screen of a phone, but
Right.
just in general, yeah, it's like bubble of energy around each person.
Right. Right. Okay. My theory of that question would be our heart. And I was going through and doing a little research on blood circulation
Mm-hmm.
and how our blood circulates, and it's literal and almost a vortex in motion. Going through the arteries, traveling up into the lungs, and going back down through our body. It literally is going in a circular formation the whole time. And now people are discovering, like, the heart is the cause for that field around our body.
Yeah.
Like that, so it's a clear indication that there's a lot more going on with our heart than we recognize. It's not just a simple organ, it's an intelligent organ, just like our stomach is intelligent. But I believe our heart is probably the center of the movement of our body,
Mm-hmm.
that brings forth the life that we all know that we
Yeah.
have. So it's just a theory, but it seems plausible to me.
I think there are organs that generate their own electricity, but the
Mhm.
heart is like the generator for the body. I would definitely agree with you on that one.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It just talking about vortexia by itself, like you said, it's so many things in this
Mm-hmm.
earth that's just like, okay, you really can't deny that its movement is in a vortexia motion. Like, if, like, a tornado is not bound by gravity at all, and that's what a lot of people miss that fact. And it's just like, okay, if this thing is spinning without any gravity and is able to pick up stuff that y'all so-called say has the most, well, it has a gravitational force pulling on it, and it's slinging things in a constant motion. If
Mm-hmm.
it's in space, we'll just call it a black hole. If a black hole picks up a certain amount of mass that is heavy enough to be thrown, but light enough to keep in orbit, that is something that could stay in the orbit of that black hole until something disrupts the motion of it.
Mm-hmm.
And another crazy thing about black holes that I found out is, once you enter into the center of a black hole, the singularity, time will forever push you forward. And just go ahead. What were you about to
So you're going faster through time.
say? Not necessarily just faster, but it's kind of, I would say, a good kind of way to understand it. It is possibly the father time.
A time generator is what you're saying.
Yes, yes. It generates time itself, and it pushes everything perpetually forward. You can't go backwards inside of a black hole. Like once you enter that singularity, you will be forever propelling into the future.
So if it's generating a field of time,
Mhm.
there has to be a limit to that field, and another
Yeah.
galaxy has its own time generator. So what would it be like to find that spot in between fields,
Yo,
in between the bubbles? Like, what would that be?
oh God, well, I would just say the birth of a universe.
Well,
I don't know. That
when
is
I think
interesting.
it was my second time reading Oahspe, I had this. It wasn't directly from the text, but I just had this feeling like, okay, so you have ships coming and going in Etheria and Atmospheria, and you run across a ship that's been traveling for a million years. It's on a million-year voyage or something like that. In one of those stories, it wasn't in the text, but I just got this feeling that there was time for one vessel was not the same as time for another vessel, and
Mm,
it wasn't explained. It's just the way it was worded, and just it was just the impression I got like that. It just seemed like it seemed like if you have a being that's only been alive for 200,000 years,
right.
and is greeting a friend coming back from a million-year journey, and they know each other. There's got to be some kind of a
Time lapse.
yeah. There's got to be some kind of a different reckoning for the different journeys as far as time goes.
Yeah, like that's a good point. And like when you were talking, it just popped in my head. Like our black hole in the center of our galaxy is a supermassive black hole, but there are black holes much, much, much more larger than our black hole in the center of our galaxy. So if they all can generate time itself, it would make sense that if you travel out into the cosmos and enter into a different vortexian field, time actually either does speed up, it could possibly slow down, maybe it could even stop for a second. Yeah, just depending on
Mm-hmm.
the size of the black hole, because they've also found like miniature galaxies that have tiny black holes, that is holding them together. But most of the time, if they see a smaller galaxy, they can't see the black hole. But that doesn't necessarily mean the vortexian energy is not there.
Right.
So it, I definitely believe that can play a huge factor in time, especially when it comes to travel. So what you said makes sense. That makes sense to why you think that there would be a time lapse between those gaps of somebody being 2,000 years behind a person that's done already traveled a million years and came back all within 2,000
Right.
years. You
Right.
know,
And
so,
maybe that's what the navigators and the surveyors, the roads that they're plotting in Oahspe, are trying to find that perfect balance between the different, um, you know, time atmospheres of each black hole, the currents of time, trying to get it all balanced out. I would imagine if you have a ship that's 3,000 miles or something across, you might want to figure out like exactly which side of the bubble you want to be on.
oh man, that is crazy to think about. A 3,000 mile ship, dude. Oh, that's a planet all in itself, basically. But honestly, like in terms of travel and all that, you would have to take into consideration so many things.
Oh
You would
man,
speed, mass, the actual level of energy output that you're putting in the thrusters. Like
but
it is.
think about this. We're really just talking about the physical realm right now, but can you imagine going through different densities and including all the other things that we're talking about right now? You're going through a very high density ethereal going to a very dense. So your ship, everything is got to be done just right, otherwise it's going to be shredded.
Yeah, and that it makes a lot more sense that the creator will tell us that we are inheriting ethereal whenever we die, because we're not as bound to mortality or time as we are when we're in that different dimensional, plane. It makes a lot more sense, but still, to the people that's trying to make sense of it, like us, it's like, how? It's still confusing. It's confusing, but it is what it is. Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, like, when I read through cosmogony, but it's scattered throughout all of the book. Like, there's some really interesting descriptions elsewhere. Have these little pockets of concepts that I can understand as an island, but then as soon as I start studying something else, it's like I can't hold both of them concretely in my head at the same time. There's something about my wiring, like it's very simple, but yet it's like reprogramming yourself. It's still the same observations we have, but the mechanisms and the descriptions and the why are all different.
Yeah. It definitely is. And like you said, it's a complete reprogramming without actually having the factual evidence right behind it just yet. So a lot of people would see it as a belief system.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like that, like we just believe that vortexia is the force of all life. But in actuality, like we said already, it's in all forms of life. Like you can't go ahead.
We can see scientists describing it, but using different labels. Like I saw a video. This guy was talking about positive magnetism and negative magnetism, and describing the positive and the negative exactly with the same qualities as found in Oahspe, but with a like east-west vortexia or like north-south vortexia, and the same qualities of male and female and positive and negative, and the same creative or destructive. It was exactly the same, just different labels.
And that is what we're going to find out a lot, like in these upcoming times. Like if you got Oahspe, now when you see, like, when the first thing I did when I was thinking of black holes, the first thing that went into my mind was like vortex.